Hi everyone, Jennifer Blevin-Smith with Integral Clinic Solutions, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Navigating the Business of Medicine. Today we're going to do a high-level review of HIPAA using the Health and Human Services website and showing all of the information as well as the resources available to the public on this topic. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is part of the government branch that is involved in making decisions for our healthcare system. As you will see on this website right here, this is hhs.gov, and there are a lot of different things here involving and revolving around HIPAA. You have HIPAA for individuals. If I were to click this, it will take you as someone who is a patient, like from the patient side, explaining what the individual's rights are under HIPAA, has frequently asked questions. It's in different languages, which may come in very handy for your office as well when you need to provide HIPAA privacy information to patients in other languages. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind because we're not going to really focus on that today. Today, I actually want this to be about HIPAA professionals. You can see this is also the website where if there was a HIPAA complaint that needed to be filed, it would be done right here. And I'll just click on that for a second. It explains the whole complaint process. Here is where you would actually file the complaint online. It tells you what to expect and the steps, timing, and then the patient safety confidentiality complaint. There's places where patients can make the report as well as staff. This is all in one spot. And you will see that it mentions other branches or offices, I should say, in the government that also is involved in all of this. So you will see that the Office for Civil Rights is involved. You'll have Medicare and Medicaid involved, CMS. These all work together for different components of our healthcare system when it comes to compliance and regulations. I'm going to go back now and I'm going to come back to this HIPAA for professionals page. If you are starting a practice, if you are starting to work in healthcare, if you are not very well versed in HIPAA and you want to learn more, or you know you need to learn more, this is a great place to start. You'll see on the left-hand side here, it has all of the different sections that you can go to. And by clicking on the plus signs, it will open the subtopics on this. Something to know in case you don't already is that HIPAA has two big main components when it comes to training your staff and following compliance and regulations. It's the HIPAA privacy and the HIPAA security. So you really want to come in here, spend time, bookmark this because you never know in the future when you're going to need to reference this web page. I know I have a lot over the years and it's always changing, right? Because they update requirements and regulations, things like that. You can navigate through all of these. You can learn about all of this. This is very helpful right here about breach notifications, what the rule is, defining exactly what a breach is, and it just keeps going down. And you can see, if you're required to notify just the individual, depending on the size of the breach and how many patients are involved, all of that. It walks you through all of this, okay? And your timing that you have to report it and notify. If you have to report to the media, if it's a very large, more than 500 people, notice to the secretary, business associates, it goes through everything. It's very, very good. And then you can see that there's more links to take you to other pages with more information even from here. You can also see at the bottom here that you can tell when it was last reviewed. This one was in 2013, which doesn't surprise me because a lot of the stuff has remained the same. The nice thing is, and what I encourage all professionals in healthcare that would be involved with a clinic's HIPAA policies, procedures, trainings, development, things like that, is to subscribe to email updates. It helps you stay up to date on press releases It helps you make sure that you are in the know. I talk about that a lot in other videos for joining other subscriptions, whether it's a payer website, but this one is important for HIPAA. Okay. So if you haven't done that yet, I encourage you to come on here, explore it. We're just going to go through some very high level pieces that I want to point out. And you want to subscribe to get that newsletter to your most frequently reviewed email inbox. Okay. The link to this page will be in the description of the video so that you can find it easily and bookmark it on your computer. We're going to go back to HIPAA for professionals. It's really easy to navigate through here. You have compliance and enforcement. I think this is very important. It talks about covered entities, which as a practice, you are a covered entity, what the enforcement process is, highlights, things like that. And it goes through the entire different pieces. Audits is another piece, right? That you want to make sure that you're doing your own internal audits to make sure if you ever were to get a government audit that you would be up to par and not have any major delinquent or negative marks on your review. So you would want to make sure that you are taking that into consideration as well. Okay. So I know I keep getting derailed here. We're going to come back to the HIPAA for professionals, and it goes through the whole history of HIPAA, right? It's going to talk about the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, which is HIPAA. It's the acronym of explanation of the acronym for HIPAA. It was established in 1996. It's been so long now. It's just crazy. And then it goes through when the privacy rule was put out there, and then the security rule, and the enforcement rule, and the High Tech Act with the final omnibus rule. This is all things that, unless you're going to be in charge of your HIPAA program in your practice, you probably don't need to know it, but honestly, it does not hurt for your staff to just have a general history lesson in this. It's very important, especially if they're going to be working in healthcare for a while. Okay. Here is another link where you can sign up for actually OCR, the Office of Civil Rights, Privacy and Security Listserv. So this is another place that you can sign up to be in the know about privacy stuff, security things. And then you have the separate one down here to get things from the Secretary of HHS. And it gives you options. So I know I talked about that a few times, but staying in the know and making sure things are coming to you instead of having to seek it out all the time makes it a lot easier, I promise. So any of these you can sign up for, I encourage you. We're going to come back down here. So there's the history. You have the different rules that need to be followed based off CMS, and it takes you to code set standards, which would be like diagnosis, CPT codes, goes over EIN standards, it goes over MPI standards, transactions. There's so many different pathways and rabbit holes that this can take you by just clicking on the other links from one page. It's crazy. You could be on here for hours, and if you have never been on here, I encourage you to come on here, get acclimated, read things. You're probably going to learn things you've never known before, even if you've been in healthcare forever, because depending on what role you have had, you might not have needed to know it. And now you're in a new role perhaps, and you do need to know it. You can come right here, and this is what I like, the training and resources link. This helps you implement your privacy and security protections. This is going to help you put together your HIPAA privacy and security protocols, trainings, policies and procedures, and it takes you to different links. As you can see, you have healthit.gov. All of these are useful. I will say, however, if you are a novice to this, if you have never ran a HIPAA compliancy program in a practice, if you are not formally trained in HIPAA compliance, I strongly encourage you to seek out a third-party vendor that can assist with this. It is not cheap, I'm going to be honest with you, but it's definitely a return on investment if you were ever to get into any kind of HIPAA trouble or suspected trouble or be reported to these entities for a breach or a possible violation. It might not even be true, but it still puts you under the microscope. So having a very strong compliance program, no matter how big or small your practice is, whether it's one provider, 10, 50, 100, 1,000, you really should have a very strong HIPAA program. And it starts with having the right tools. Yes, you can come on here and it is very time consuming. It is very possible to put together everything you need based off of all of these links and the different websites and things like that. However, you would be reinventing the wheel if you were just willing to put out some money to be able to find a third party vendor that is specialized in this. They will give you forms, they will give you worksheets. They will give you trainings to put together that will be customized for your staff and your specialty. It's really, really nice. A lot of times they will even do other compliance and regulatory, not just HIPAA. So they might do your fraud, waste, and abuse, which is a kind of a dovetail off of this, but it's not technically HIPAA, right? It's CMS regulatory stuff. And then they might do some OSHA things for you because you have to do, your hazardous waste trainings, your biohazard trainings, your chemical substances, IATA stuff. And a lot of times they have software or portals that you can log things, you can send things, you can document and keep everything in one spot. So if you were to get audited by the government or you do your own internal audit, someone can find all that information in one spot. So just know that it's out there. I highly encourage you to put the money out to do it, especially again, if you've never done it before or you just feel like you're not well enough versed in it to do it justice in the way it should be done. There are FAQs here for professionals. This is always very handy. You can type by keywords, you can select by category. It's all at your fingertips right here, okay? So check this out. I'm not going to go any further than that. I think this is a lot of information. And honestly, it's one of those things I just want to present to you and you can run with it. I just wanted to show you it exists. It's another arrow to put in your quiver as far as resources and tools to have for your practice and to use to the best of your abilities and be as informed as possible. If you have any questions or comments about this, please leave that in the comments below. Smash the thumbs up button if today's video was helpful. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and please, please, please share this with any of your colleagues, staff members that you feel would benefit from this information. Be well, take care of yourself, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.